Hello the internet, how you doing? Now go on, they look good, don't they? Wood-fired pizzas, they're all the rage at the moment, but you can make them at home. If you have a barbecue, you can do this all yourself, and at a fraction of the price. All you need is a few basic ingredients and the toppings of your choice, and a kitchen mixer will help save your arm a bit of energy. Now I've been making these homemade pizzas for some time, many years in fact, and this is the best recipe I've come across. And this will make 2 good sized pizzas. You're going to want 400 grams of strong bread flour and a bit of extra for dusting, 1 teaspoon of table salt, 1 teaspoon of caster sugar and 7 grams of fast action yeast. Make sure the yeast is fresh. Once you've mixed all your dry ingredients together, then you're going to want 2 tablespoons of oil. Mix that in with the dry ingredients, and then you're going to want to add your water. 225 ml, yeah, close enough, of water. Pour that into a well you've made in the centre of your bowl, and then mix the wet and dry ingredients together. It'll take a few minutes for it all to come together. If it's still too wet, then add a bit of extra flour. If it's too dry, add a bit of extra water. Then put it onto a well floured board, and you want to knead it well. Now this will determine how much of a deep pan pizza you're going to get. The more air you get into it, the more deep pan it's going to be. Once you've done that, you're going to need to prove the dough. I lightly oil a bowl and I put the dough in the centre of it and cover with a bit of cling film, and then leave it in a warm place for an hour or 2 and let it at least double in size. If it's too cold, then if you've got an air fryer, you can use those to prove your dough and they work quite well. But if it's a warm day, it'll just work out on the surface like that. Then you need to choose your toppings, and this is entirely up to you what you're going to go with. I've gone for a meat feast here. This is my standard fare and it tastes lovely. But it's up to you. Go crazy, do what you want, go off the reservation. Christmas leftovers, trust me, it works a treat. Turkey, Yorkshire puddings, potatoes, cranberries, sausage meat. Oh, I tell you what, that pizza was absolutely divine on Boxing Day. One thing I will recommend to you though is get your toppings prepared. Things will start moving quickly when you roll out your pizza dough. So get your toppings ready to put on top of your pizza. Then we're going to fire up the barbecue. Before I start putting my toppings on, I make sure the barbecue is good and fired up. It takes this particular barbecue 6 or 7 minutes to get up to about 350 degrees centigrade, and then we're good to go. So the pizza stones are inside the oven, they're preheating, they are good and hot when we put the pizza on there. I'd also recommend, if you're making more than one pizza, to have at least 2 paddles and a good quality cutter. Now this is the biggest tip I'm going to give to you. Polenta or cornmeal. It acts as like ball bearings, like a lubricant to put onto the paddle so that the pizza dough doesn't stick to the paddle. If there's too much moisture in the dough, it will stick to that paddle, and when you go to transfer it into the oven, it's just going to stick and you'll end up with just stuck pizza absolutely everywhere inside a blazing furnace. It doesn't work very well. Now I've halved the pizza dough, I'm just kneading it down a bit, and then I'm going to roll it out. Now I just use a standard rolling pin. You can get flamboyant and creative and start spinning them around like you see on those videos on TikTok and YouTube, but you really don't need to, and they don't get so much mess all over the kitchen. So just roll it out to a size that fits onto the paddle. The cornmeal will prevent it from sticking to the metal. Repeat for the second pizza. In this case we're doing 2 pizzas. A little bit of extra flour, just make sure it doesn't stick, because you will get some moisture left in that dough, which is why I use that cornmeal and polenta. It really is the biggest tip I'll give to you. And now we get to load up our pizza. I'm going to use a tomato passata sauce here. You can use puree if you want, but I prefer to use the passata. It's just a little bit runnier, a bit easier to work with, and it tastes quite nice too. But I also do add some pizza seasoning. You can use any seasoning you want, but I've got specific pizza seasoning here I got from the local supermarket. I use a little bit of grated cheddar. Choose whatever cheese you want. I don't use too much cheese actually, because it becomes very runny and sloppy and it goes all over the place. Besides which, I'm going to end up putting mozzarella on the top of the pizza. On this particular one, I've got salami, I've got chorizo, I've got pepperoni, and I've got chicken. Oh, and a bit of prosciutto. And then I've just liberally drizzled a bit of garlic oil over the top of it, and it really does taste good, that does. Once I've got my oven up to around about 350 degrees, that's about as hot as this oven currently gets, I'm going to transfer it to the oven. And this is the trickiest bit, because even with that polenta and all the precautions you take, you will get a little bit of moisture, so always make sure you've got your spatula on hand just in case it does stick a little bit. After about 4 or 5 minutes at this temperature, you're done. Any more than that and you'll start to get a burnt base. You just got to watch out for the base because you can't see that. Have yourself a good cutter. You can use one of those rollers if you want to, but one of these large oval shaped things work really well. And then I garnish it. A little bit of rocket works really well, and then a drizzle of balsamic glaze just finishes it off a treat. And there you go. That is my homemade barbecue pizza, and I tell you, this tastes so good. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Do give me a like and a subscribe, and I shall see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.